Hey everyone, we're diving deep today into something I know a lot of you are curious about. All those things President Biden has gotten done in office. And what is it about his style that seems to click with people?
Yeah, it's definitely worth taking a closer look at. We'll break down what he's managed to achieve, but also try to understand it all in context, historically and politically speaking.
Exactly. So much has happened. But let's start with, well, I guess you could say the elephant in the room, the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember those days? Feels like forever ago. And right in the middle of all that chaos came the American Rescue Plan. I mean, the sheer size of it was impressive, sure. But what really struck me was the direct aid. Restaurants, for example.
Oh, absolutely. They were hit so hard.
Right. On the brink of disaster. But then they got that targeted relief. It saved so many jobs. And just think about it. If the restaurant industry had gone under, that would have had a huge ripple effect across the entire economy.
You're right, that targeted approach was key. I mean, the American Rescue Plan wasn't just about throwing money at the economy, it was about stabilizing these essential sectors. And restaurants are a good example. They're not just employers, they're part of the fabric of our communities.
Totally. It was about more than just the numbers, right?
Hmm.
This was people's livelihoods, people's sense of normalcy, and those extended unemployment benefits. I mean, for so many, that was a lifeline, a bit of breathing room when everything felt like it was falling apart.
Absolutely crucial. Though there was, and I guess still is, some debate around the long-term impact of those benefits on the labor market. Some folks argued that they discouraged people from going back to work. Others felt that in such an unprecedented crisis, that safety net was essential.
It's true. Complicated issue for sure. And there are valid points on both sides. But let's shift gears a bit from recovery from the pandemic to the economy in general. One thing I find really fascinating is the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It's not just about patching up old roads and bridges, is it? It's about, well, investing in the future, especially with all the emphasis on broadband expansion and sustainable energy.
It really is forward-thinking infrastructure. And
Hmm.
yeah, the focus on sustainable energy is huge. That part of the act is designed to really boost industries like solar and wind power. So that means job creation, manufacturing, installation, maintenance. And it's not just about new jobs, it's also about helping workers from those old fossil fuel industries transition to these new jobs, retraining and all that. It's about making that transition fair.
So yeah, building things, sure, but building a whole new kind of economy too.
Yeah.
And that's something that could have a real, tangible impact on all of us. And speaking of the future, we can't forget about climate change. Just the fact that Biden rejoined the Paris Agreement was a big deal. But what does that actually translate to in terms of concrete action?
Well, rejoining the Paris Agreement sent a clear signal. It showed that America was ready to get back to working with the international community on this, tackling climate change together, reducing emissions, keeping global warming in check. It reasserted America's leadership role in all that. And then the Inflation Reduction Act, with all that money it puts into clean energy and emissions reduction, well, that's how those commitments actually get put into action here at home.
That investment is massive, right? I mean, is everyone happy about this new direction in climate policy?
Well, yeah, it is the biggest climate investment in U.S. history. But of course, you're going to have different opinions on the best way to go about it. Some environmental groups say it's not enough. They want to see a much faster move away from fossil fuels. But the administration's argument is that their approach is more, I guess you could say, pragmatic. It's about balancing the urgent need for climate action with, well, economic realities.
Interesting. So even with something as, I don't know, urgent as climate change, there's no easy answer. It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's zoom out a little and look beyond our borders. It seems like Biden's taking a very different approach to international relations, especially when you think about his focus on strengthening NATO and all that support for Ukraine.
Definitely. His approach is all about diplomacy, working together with other countries, multilateralism. And you can see the support for Ukraine and that emphasis on NATO as a way to reinforce those democratic values and push back against authoritarianism. It's definitely a change from how previous administrations did things, much less, well, going it alone.
Yeah, like he's trying to, I don't know, reestablish America's role as a global leader, but by working with others, not dictating to them. And it's not just about the policies themselves, right? There's something about his personal style that seems to connect with people, that empathy, that resilience. I mean, he's been through so much personally, and he keeps going.
That's something people really respond to, being able to connect on a human level, showing both vulnerability and strength. It builds trust and helps people feel like they're not alone in whatever they're going through.
So, wow, we've covered a lot today, from navigating a pandemic and rebuilding the economy to all this stuff with climate change and redefining America's place on the world stage.
As you delve deeper into this on your own, think about what it all means in the long run. How will these things Biden's done, these initiatives, how will they shape our political landscape, our economy, our standing in the world in the years to come?
That's something to ponder, for sure. Hey, thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. It's been a really interesting conversation, and I hope you've come away with a better grasp of just how complex this all is. President Biden's leadership, all the challenges he's facing.
It's a lot to unpack.
It really is.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Catch you next time.